WCW was owned by Ted Turner, one of the largest media magnates around the world. I think, as companies do, it's had its day and that was it.
I just wonder, Sammy, if somebody knew something that, when you spoke to that gentleman, he said, "No, look, take the opportunity." I just wonder if he knew maybe what was coming in the horizon and went, "No, go do it, Sammy, go do it." Do you know
something? Do you know something? My good friend Eric Bischoff over at WCW was a president at the time, and I would bet my bottom dollar till this very day that he did, because a lot of, as you know yourself, I don't know what the Australian scene was like, but the American scene, it's a soap opera. Honest to God, wrestling's a soap opera. Excuse the French. It really, really is. And you know how the wrestling works, and it's people still, even though it's a gimmick, people still to this very day get angry about not getting a title shot, and I'm better than you, and I'm this and that, and blah blah blah. They're just professional badass actors. That's what they should be. But they take it very, very personal, and I understand, because trying to get to the top of the stage creates more revenue. I do understand.
And too, Sammy, when it gets to it, because the guy that trained us back in the day was he'd been around for a long time. He worked with all the American. Frank Carpenter from Adelaide, right? He was back in the day when all the Skull Murphy and Killer Kowalski, when they were coming out to Channel 9 Wrestling, and he worked with all of them, and he went to the States, and he was a good guide for us. But he said, look, back in the day, then he said, if you were that sort of guy that was a bit of a princess, you'd soon get sorted out real quick. Shooters, they would sort you out very quickly and say, this is a professional game. This is what you're paid to do. You do it. And if you don't want to do it, then, things happen, and we're not saying, dastardly things happen, but you might walk out with a couple more bruises than you tended to have, wake you up a little bit. Because like you said, everyone works together. It's not about you being the best. You're there for the audience, to come and be entertained.
And
I don't know what it's like nowadays.
No, but you're 100% right. And I learned that quickly in the wrestling, because if I'm working with you, irrespective of heel or babyface, it doesn't matter how good I am, but if you're not selling, you're going to make me look like crap,
Yeah.
And that's what this whole scenario is. That's what the whole wrestling game's about. And it's purely entertainment. Even though people do get hurt, seriously hurt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sheesh. Well, you worked on the Condemned with us, and Stone Cold Steve, he had a serious injury that could have put him in a wheelchair for the rest of his life,
Well,
and
I can, you want to talk about injuries. I wrestled in Japan. I'm not sure whether you've wrestled in Japan before, but Japan are very, very, very big on their wrestling. They love the All Japan wrestling over there. And I remember they said to me, "You're gonna tag up, and you're doing a tag team with another Mexican champion called Descaris. His son, which is his son. His late father was one of the great champions, Mexican champions, always a masked Mexican." And I said, yeah, so I stayed in Japan and wrestled with these guys, trained and did everything until the main match that day, more sort of like a main event. And as you know, we've both got our finish moves. One's going to be a false finish, and the other one's going to finish off, obviously. And, mate, I was as fit as they come. You want to talk about injuries, as fit as they come and everything else. And my finish move was off the top rope. It's the big flying side kick off the top rope. There's a few things in between. But mine was a false finish. And then the guy peppers up and tags his mate in, and I tag my mate in, and Descaris, the main Mexican, wins the match. But it was quite interesting. We started wrestling, and we put heat on these guys, and then they reversed, put the heat back on us, and started getting the better of us, and really got the crowd interacting. And I remember tagging my opponent in, my partner in. And he's gone to work, and he's re-tagged me in. And I heard the referee say, "It's time to take it home now," So off I went. I had a couple of minutes to do my finish. but it was a false finish. But when I jumped off the top rope, I slammed the guy into the turnbuckle. As he fed out, I hit him with a back spinning kick, and then he had to get back up. And I was climbing the ropes, and I sort of stand there in a big crucifix, and he's supposed to feed up in the middle of the ring, but he was too far away. I knew he was too far away, but I couldn't. But the thing is, you know yourself in wrestling, when it's time to go home, it's time to go home. And I just knew that this isn't going to work, but I can't do anything. It's already, the crowd's already popped. So I've just launched out as much as I could, and I've caught him flush on the chin, right? I couldn't even pull it. And he's taken a legitimate bump off a kick, nearly knocked him out. And I've rolled it. As I've landed, my left knee has blown completely. So I've literally broke my knee completely. You have it snaps. You can hear it. And the rules of wrestling are, if you're not dead, you finish. Simple.
Wow.
So I've rolled the guy up, right? And it's 1, 2, and he kicked out, right? So I'm crawling, literally crawling to my corner to tag my mate in. The crowd are popping, thinking, wow, this is fantastic. Little do they know that I've broken my leg. I couldn't stand up. My partner comes in, goes off to finish his. Now I've got to jump back in the ring just to save him, right? Because then the two of them are going to jump in. So all I had to do was walk in. I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet. I finally get up. And as the guy came forward, I went to punch him. My left leg gave way and I potatoed him really hard.
Oh.
Dropped him. I literally dropped him. He got back up. And I've never felt a kick in the ribs so hard. He kicked me so hard. I pounded out of the ring. I'm trying to scream at him and grab him until I've leg locked him and dragged him down, nearly broke his knee. I said, my ribs are broken. He's giving me the last, sorry, my knee's broken. He's giving me the last kick in the ribs, taking the absolute air out of me. And meanwhile, my partner's up there doing a Frankenstein off the top rope and finishes, and we win the match. Right? The crowd have gone absolutely insane. Right? Little do they know that I've broken my knee. So I've stood up and I'm holding the apron, hobbling away. Everyone thinks, man, Greco's selling it like crazy. You know, this is fantastic. Get to the behind the curtains and I just collapsed. And they had the medics over. They go, oh, great match, great. I said, no. I said, call the medics over quickly. Doctors look at me. They grab my leg and it just moves from left to right.
Whoa.
We're going to take it to the hospital. So I just blew everything out completely. I had a full reconstruction.
Wow.
So you want to talk about
Sammy, I gotta ask you, did those guys have any sympathy for you or did they just go tough luck?
Oh, no. I'll tell you something. In Japan, I've wrestled in America. I've had 50 odd matches probably in America. And I mean, America was tough, but not as tough as Japan. Japan, man, they hit you hard all the way through. It's either you sell or you sell. You've got no choice. You've got no choice. You know, Americans are a bit different. You know, if you're selling it, they'll still leaving you alone. But if you weren't selling, then you'd cop one. You know, you potato. But in Japan, they made sure you sell. There was no room for error. You know.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that they're pretty hard.
They are. They're very, very hard. The circuits are very hard. They take a lot of pride. But you know, I was fortunate in Japan. I wrestled. We did a 4-way tag with the great Muda. George? What's his name? Abdul the Butcher, myself, and Bob South. Yeah, we were all wrestled together. We did a 4-way there. You know, there's a legend there, Abdul the Butcher. The guy's forehead's like leather. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really interesting, man. That's an interesting way to win a contest. That's relentless.
Oh, God.